Hey, it's Mr. Cam back to show you the second version of the Capcom Arcade Stadium. And this is full of a lot of games that played in my childhood as well. Yeah, let's take a look in here and take a look at the entire list real quick here. It goes all the way from Son down in 1984 to Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition. That one was made around 2004 or 2003. Okay, we're going to go through the list. I'll give you some ideas about these games. This is a pretty simple game. It's got in the days of Donkey Kong and stuff of that nature. Not too bad for the time. I played through it once. It was good for about 5 or 10 minutes of fun. And let's see here. Let's switch to the rest of them here. Savage Beast, shoot 'em up, one of the early ones. Not too bad for a shoot 'em up, and I'm not a big fan of shoot 'em up. This is also known occasionally as Gunsmoke or a shooting up type game. Very early era, not bad. Again, for the times, it was fun for the times. But they don't last. After a while, you get bored of it. Speed Rumbler, think Spy Hunter. It's a lot like that game. It has some fun to it, but I didn't care for it that much. Sidearms is a shoot 'em up, kind of simple. Not a lot to this game, so I tend to skip it. This is one of the first beat 'em up, fight 'em up type games way back in 1987. Not bad. Good. I've liked better ones though. Black Tiger is interesting. I have not beaten this one yet. I tried to, but I didn't do it with invincibility and got kind of lost in it. Not a bad game though. Try it, see what you think of it. This is the original Street Fighter. I do not recommend playing this game. It's not fun. The controls are much worse than the Street Fighter 2. Your chances of beating this are near nothing because it cheats all the time. So it was a trial. I think they did a much better job with controls than Street Fighter 2. Made it an actually playable game. So this is just the original, made back in 1987. Tiger Road, another interesting game. I've played a little bit of it. I think it's a good one. It's worth trying through. I have not beaten it yet, but I tend to, even if it means using invincibility, which you can buy for these games, by the way. That makes it even more interesting to play these games through. 1943 with a Chinese symbol on it. This may be the one that some people played in the theaters in my time. It looks more familiar than the other 1943 and the first set. So that's probably why they came out with it. This is Last Duel, another shoot 'em up. Not too bad. It could be better though. Not a big fan of shoot 'em ups. This is another game that's much like Spy Hunter, and it's a little bit of an improvement on it, but maybe a little too fast for my liking. But I like it. It's okay. This was a favorite of mine in arcades. I played a lot of Magic Sword. I actually beat this game. I think I spent $4 or $5 in order to do it, but it's got a lot of interesting things to it. You can decide to use a gate for keys different ways. You can pick up new characters, trade characters, go to fight with alongside you. Very interesting game, very good concept. I wish they'd redo something like it. It kind of reminds me of Golden Axe in a way, but only 2D and only not 3D. This is a decent enough game. It actually has 3 games in one. So technically there are 34 games in this set instead of 32. Not too bad though. 3 different games. King of Dragons, another game that I played a lot of when I was a young kid. Interesting game. A lot like Magic Sword, but 3D. It was a good improvement. Although I wasn't as big a fan of this one as the later one. Block is just a breakout type game. Not a big fan of breakout games. They're kind of boring to me. Here's another favorite, Knights of the Round. I enjoyed this as a kid a lot. Again, it took a lot of, maybe $35 worth of coins to get through and beat this game, but it was fun. This is Slam Masters. If you're into wrestling, this is a decent wrestling game, but I'm not into it, so Eco Fighters. This is a shoot 'em up game. Kind of an interesting concept. You move the shots around in different ways. I'll have to play through it a little more. It does look interesting, more interesting than your typical shoot 'em up. So, Peanickies. It's a Tetris-like game. You've got some interesting drawings on the sides, but you have to be careful how you play this game. You have to line up the little icons that are real small to see. You got to be careful how you use them, and it can get hard to do fast. So be careful on this one. But it's a lot like Tetris in a way, only with little icons you got to keep track of. Here's a famous set of beat 'em up games, Darkstalkers. This is the original one. It got some very interesting characters in it, and the storylines, and it's kind of a knockoff on Street Fighter, but with its own set of very interesting characters. I do recommend playing through this one and this next one to it, called Night Warriors. They again show you all the different characters in the Darkstalkers series. It's worth play through, especially on this list. It's one of the reasons I bought this list, was so I could play through these if I wanted to. Very interesting characters. I would recommend it partly for that. Street Fighter Alpha is basically a prequel to the Street Fighter series. Before you face each other in Street Fighter, you face them in this. You'll find some final fight characters in this game. That makes it even more interesting. And a couple of new characters. So I recommend Street Fighter Alpha, and also another one later. Mega Man Power Battle. Mega Man is like fighting Mega Man, only you're doing just the battles, which is fun. I enjoy it. I'd recommend this as a playthrough. It's interesting. I've always liked the Mega Man series, and I've beaten several of those Mega Mans over the years. Let's see, this is Street Fighter Alpha 2. I usually skip the 2. I go right to 3. Not much improvement on from 1 to 2 in my opinion, but 1 to 3, there's a difference. So I tend to skip this one. Super Puzzle Fighter 2. This is more of a puzzle game than a fighting game. That's something fun to try. I haven't done it yet, but it looks like a more interesting Tetris type game. This is the second version of the Mega Man Power Fighters. Again, nice quick run through. Vampire Savior, you would think that they would call this Darkstalkers 3 with all the characters returning. There's a lot of characters from the Darkstalkers series, but there's also several new ones. So I do recommend playing through this one as well. Not bad. This is an odd one to add, called the Capcom Sports Club. Lots of different sports you can play, but I'm not a big fan of it. Super Gem Fighter. This is actually another version of Street Fighter 2. Just a smaller version of it, and different things they switch in. It might be worth a playthrough, but this is definitely worth a playthrough. Street Fighter Alpha 3. This is the definitive, in my opinion, version of Street Fighter Alpha, with all kinds of different characters, and endings, and lots of interesting stuff in this one. If you're going to play a Street Fighter Alpha 1, this is the one to play. And then Hyper Street Fighter 2 is basically the anniversary version of Super Street Fighter 2, with all the characters. You can make it faster, you can make it slower. It's the definitive version, 25 years later after the first Street Fighter came out. Very good set of games here. I heavily recommend them, especially if you're into beat 'em ups. There's a lot of beat 'em ups here. I have had fun with it. I'm not done having fun with it yet, and I've had this on both the 4 and the 5 for some time. So heavily recommend it. It's worth playing through. It's worth the money that you're going to pay for the set. I would say you'll enjoy playing through these. And you can also buy the invincibility for it. If you look in here, okay, and you buy it, you have to pay a certain amount for it, not very much. Let's go to game settings. You can even buy the invincibility. You can turn it on and off. Okay, I only use the on to see some endings, but most of them I don't need the invincibility for. All right, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Take care.